Good morning students, welcome back. Today we are going to talk about next important class of superclass Tetrapoda and the class is aves. Now aves, first thing you should remember that aves meaning birds. Okay, so commonly these organisms are called as birds. Okay, so I have something to show you all. I am having with me a specimen of one bird and this bird is pigeon. Okay, commonly this organism is called as pigeon or you can say columba. Okay, scientifically we say columba or pigeon. Okay, so imagine any bird. Okay, and then you can remember all the general characteristics of this particular bird. Okay, so you can imagine peacock, you can imagine parrot, kingfisher, okay, all the birds, and you can remember the general characteristics of this particular organism. Okay, so let me tell you all the general characteristics of aves, class aves. Moving to the very first point, that is body. Okay, let me tell you the shape of the body. You can see this particular specimen. Okay, now this specimen is having beak over here and tail here, right? So beak and tail, and you can clearly see, you can actually imagine all the birds. If you imagine parrot also, beak and tail, you must have seen, right? Beak and tail is narrowed at the end region. So beak region and tail region is at pointing like narrowed, okay? Whereas the middle portion is quite bulky, or I can say middle portion is broad. Okay, so that shape, that is narrowing at the end and broad at the middle, this shape is referred as streamlined shape or spindle shape or boat shape, you can say. Okay, so first thing I will write over here, body is streamlined. Streamlined meaning spindle shape, okay, and this streamlined body is actually helpful for the organism to smoothly move into the medium. Now that medium can be air or can be water. Now if I am talking about water, I have already told you fishes also have that streamlined body, right, so that they can easily swim in the water. Same way, these birds have to easily move, okay, into the air, so they require that streamlined body. So the body is streamlined or spindle shape or boat shape. You can remember that, so that they can easily move into the air. Okay. Next, moving to the second point, that is skin. Skin, if we talk about the skin, you cannot see actually the skin, right? Skin is covered by feathers. So if I am talking about skin, skin is completely dry. Okay, so skin is dry and non-glandular. Okay, now see, skin is dry and non-glandular, meaning glands are not there. That's why it is very dry. But there is exception. Okay, there is one gland which is present at the base of the tail, and that gland is referred as, this is the exception what I am telling you now, preen gland or oil gland. Okay, so this preen gland or oil gland, it is present at the base of the tail, remember. Okay, so this is the gland which is present at the base of the tail. Normally you must have seen many a times when the birds rest on something, a branch or wherever they are resting, they are always busy with their feathers. The beak is doing something or other with their feathers, right? What exactly they are doing? Actually, imagine now this is a bird and at the tail portion there is a preen gland or oil gland. The beak will be touching that preen gland or oil gland. As a result, what will happen? That oil will be deposited on the beak of the bird, okay, and then once that oil is deposited on the beak, when the bird is sitting on any or resting on any substrate, okay, the bird or the beak will be spreading this oil on their feathers. Okay, so the oil will be smoothly spreaded on their feathers, and that's why you can see feathers are always like waxy. It is because of the preen gland. Okay, so beak is secreting that wax or oil onto the feathers. Now, why this particular thing is required? Very important thing. Birds, in order to prevent wetting, okay, whenever there is rain or whenever they are going into the water, for example, okay, if suppose the feathers are coming in contact with the water, and what will happen? Wet, okay, feathers will get wet, and if the feathers get wet, the size, or I can say density will increase, and that will be a problematic situation for the bird to fly, right? So in order to prevent wetting, it has to keep the feathers very dry, then only they can easily fly. The light weight and all that features, okay, is required for the bird to fly. Okay, so in order to prevent wetting, the oil gland is present at the base of the tail. The beak is touching this oil gland, so that oil is deposited on the beak, and then that beak will be spreading the oil on the feathers. Okay, so that will be a kind of flight adaptation we can see. Okay. Next, let me tell you all about the skeleton which is present outside. Okay, and this particular organisms, all the birds, if you imagine, they are having feathers. So I can write here, they have feathery exoskeleton. Okay, which gives the protection also. So feathers are present on the external surface. Moving to endoskeleton, meaning skeleton which is present inside. Obviously, you must have seen many a times the bones are present, right? So bony endoskeleton I can write. Okay, so bony endoskeleton. Now imagine the bones. We have bone marrow in our bones, right? Imagine like that bone marrow is present in the bird. Okay, what will happen? The weight of the bird will increase, and that will be again a problem for the bird to fly, right? Because the weight will increase. So in order to prevent that also, okay, in order to keep the minimum weight, the bones are hollow inside. Okay, there are lot of air cavities in the bones. That's why hollow I am saying. Okay, and these hollow bones, or a lot of air cavities bones, or the air cavities which are present in the bone, that's why bones are referred as pneumatic bones. Okay, so bones are called as pneumatic bones. So bones with air cavities to minimize their weight. So pneumatic bones. Okay. Moving to their limbs. Now this apes belong to tetrapoda, meaning 4 limbs, right? So 2 fore and 2 hind limbs. So 4 limbs, you must have seen many a times a bird, right? It is having only limbs over here. You cannot see 4 limbs. 4 limbs I'm talking. Okay. So there are 4 limbs, meaning front limbs, but that limbs are modified into wings. So which is a very, or you can say that it is a significant characteristic of bird, that is 4 limbs are modified into wings. Okay, so 4 limbs are modified into wings so that they can easily fly into the air. Okay, so wings are helpful for them. Okay, moving to the next, hind limb. So you have seen the hind limb, right? All the limb, what you can actually see is the hind limb. Now hind limb in these birds are modified for running, for jumping, for swimming, for walking also. You must have seen a lot of birds, right? Jumping, running, walking. But normally, so these are all the features of the hind limb. Hind limbs are modified for walking, for running, for jumping, for swimming, as well as for perching. Now I am not writing here running, swimming, walking, because these are all the common features you can remember. Any bird hand you can remember. But many a times you must have seen lot of birds which are sitting on very height, okay, or sitting on thin wires, and that resting on thin wires, or it is very at the high distant location. These are called as perching. The birds are perching. What is exactly this perching? Now we must have seen birds digits. Okay, there are, if imagine there are 5 digits, pentadactyl, which I have already explained you. 4 this. Now whenever they are sitting on any wire, what they will be doing? They will be just holding that wire and will be doing like this. Okay, so they can balance on that thin wire also. That means they can actually perch. They are perching, we say, on the thin wire. Okay, the digits are folded and they can balance on that. And whenever they want to fly, what they will be doing? They will be spreading their wings and then they will be unholding, okay, unwinding, I can say, their digits, and then they will be flying. So perching, hind limbs are modified for perching also. Remember. Now imagine if the bird is found in the water, the digits are having wag also. So wagged feet, duck and all, you must have seen wagged feet. Okay. So these are some of the modifications based on where the bird is present. Okay. Let me tell you all more about some features. The sternum. Now what is sternum? Sternum is chest bone, or you can say breastbone. Okay. Now we have this chest bone which is very flat. So sternum we have, where the ribs and all are attached in our body. Okay. Like that, birds also have sternum, but that sternum is V-shaped like this. It is not flat like us. It is V-shaped. Okay. And this V-shaped sternum is very helpful for the bird. You know why? Because the flight muscles are attached to the sternum. That V-shaped sternum to which the flight muscles are attached. And that's why this type of sternum is called as keeled sternum. So birds have V-shaped keeled sternum. Why keeled? Because flight muscles are attached to the sternum, that bone, chest bone. Okay. Moving towards some system, digestive system. Digestive system is complete. Okay, so alimentary canal is complete, but there are some exceptions that this particular organism, birds, are edentulous. Now edentulous meaning if you try to open their beak, okay, you won't be able to see any teeth. So teeth are absent. So remember, absence of teeth. Rest, everything is present. Okay, so teeth are absent. Remember this in the beak. So what they can do, they can directly swallow their food. Okay, whatever it is, fish, they can directly swallow it. Okay. Now they have some extra structures, and the food which is taken, the food which is swallowed by this particular organism can be stored in particular structure, and that stored structure, that particular part of alimentary canal, is called as crop. Okay, so where the food can be, the swallowed food can be stored for some period of time. Okay, and then that food can go to another part where that food will be masticated. Since they don't have teeth for chewing, right? Mastication will be done, and that will be done by gizzard. So this particular structure also bird is having. Remember this. Okay, crop and gizzard. Gizzard. Okay. Next, about their circulatory system. They have complete four-chambered heart. So there are two atria and two ventricles. So two auricles and two ventricles, or two atria and two ventricles they have. So they have developed four-chambered heart. So they have complete double circulation like us. Okay. Now moving towards something about their blood. So that's why I will tell you. Sorry. These birds are warm-blooded animals. Till now what we had seen, amphibians, cold-blooded animals, reptilia, cold-blooded animals. So they were referred as poikilotherms. But birds are warm-blooded animals. So that's why they are referred as homeotherms like us. Okay, so they can maintain their internal temperature when whatever may be the external temperature. So homeotherms can maintain. So warm-blooded, remember this. Okay. Moving to their sense organ, they have developed all the types of sense organ, but they have very powerful sense organ. That is, they have keen vision. They have powerful vision. Okay, so they have right here. Powerful vision, well developed vision power. Whenever they sit on thin wire at very height, okay, Okay, they have some are nocturnal also. In the night also they can actually have that vision power. Okay, sense of smell is also there, but powerful vision they have. Remember this thing. Okay, moving to their excretory system. Excretory system of this particular organisms, they have developed kidney, and the kidney is metanephric kidney. You can remember this. Okay, kidney is metanephric. Okay, metanephric kidney, and they are called as uricotelic organism. Uricotelic organism. Uricotelic meaning they excrete uric acid. Remember this thing also. Okay, so they excrete uric acid. That's why they are uricotelic. And the excretory system, reproductive system, their alimentary canal is opening into one opening, and that opening is called as cloaca. And this term you already know because amphibians also have cloaca. Reptilia also and apes also have this cloacal opening. Okay. Moving to their reproduction, they are sexually reproducing organism. The sexes are separate. Male and females are different. You must have seen peacock, male peacock, female peacock, right? So male and female sexes are separate. Then they are females are oviparous. Why oviparous? Now imagine they were viviparous like us. Okay, carrying their baby into the womb of the mother embryo. Now, if suppose the embryo they were carrying into, the females were carrying into their womb, okay, again the weight would have increased, and that will be a problem for them to get a smooth flight, right? Smooth flight I can say. So, in order to prevent that, these particular organisms are laying eggs, oviparous. So, laying eggs, oviparous individuals, okay. Then they have one of the significant features of bird. They have a particular sound producing organ. Because of that they can produce different types of sound, right? And that sound producing organ is called as syrinx. Remember, it is sound producing organ. Okay, so these are some of the general characteristics of this organism. Apart from this, there are other characteristics which are not mentioned here. That is, they don't have some of the organs are rudimentary in them. Some of the organs are not present in the birds. Again, to get that adaptation for flight. Okay, and one of that is they don't have right ovary. Absence of right ovary, which can be another, because the body needs to be very low, right? The weight should be less. That's why maybe because of that reason. Okay. So which are some of the adaptations of flight? Let me just quickly revise. First, body is streamlined, so they can easily move into the air, right? Second, if I am talking about the feathers, as oil is secreted on the feathers, so that in order to prevent the wetting, which again can be a flight adaptation. Then endoskeleton, which is made up of bones, but bones are hollow, again a flight adaptation to decrease their weight. Okay, pneumatic bones they have. Then forelimbs are modified into wings to get smooth flight again. Yes. Then sternum is keeled. So keeled because they have that flight muscles attached to that. Again a kind of adaptation. Digestive system, teeth are not present. Teeth may increase the weight. So teeth are not present. Again a flight adaptation. Okay. Then if I am talking about syrinx, which is okay. These are all okay. Right ovary is absent. That can be a flight adaptation. So these birds are having lot of structures. Structures extra are present. Some structures are absent in order to decrease their weight. Okay. So with this, I am finishing with the class A's. Okay. In the next video, I am going to tell you the last class of superclass Tetrapoda, and that is class Mammalia. Okay. Yes. Thank you.